Voters in the 4th Congressional District will elect a new member of Congress this year. This is the seat currently held by Joe Kennedy. He is running for Senate against Ed Markey. The 4th District stretches from Brookline to Fall River. It includes 34 cities and towns and nearly 730,000 people. There are 9 Democrats and 2 Republicans running for the seat. And throughout the month, John Keller will be introducing you to all of the candidates in this crowded field.
On your ballot on the September 1st primary will be 2 Republicans, including our guest now, David Rosa of Dighton. Mr. Rosa, welcome.
Thank you very much. Great pleasure to be on your show. And I want to thank your audience for tuning in and giving us a few minutes of their time.
So tell the voters a little bit about who you are and why you're running.
Well, I'm Dave Rosa. I'm retired, both military and civil servant. I have many, many years of experience. I should say my professional life was in the world of overseeing and helping, procuring multi-billion-dollar, multi-million-dollar systems for the military and for the government. And I have since retired, both from the military and civil service. I have been very interested and active in politics for at least 6 years now. I actually started a long time ago. But I'm running because our country is facing another very serious challenge. And that is, will we continue to be what we are, a free nation, a nation that's open to different ideas, a nation that can have civil conversation with one another, a nation where we can rely on the ballot box to resolve our problems. So it's all very much in question now. We may be at a turning point. So I'm running to provide the voters, not only with a little of my perspectives, but with an opportunity to save what they have before any hasty decisions get made and they reach a point where they cannot turn back.
If you're elected, what would your first choice of committee assignment in the House be? And what do you suspect the first bill you'd want to file would be about?
Well, all that's great questions. But as I say in the game, you get to ask the questions, I get to give the answers. So one of the reasons I'm in this is because I think we need to address how we got here. And we got here some years ago when the Democrat voters in Brookline and Newton and elsewhere put Barney Frank in office. Barney Frank then went on and developed an unholy relationship with Freddie Mae, federal organizations involved in mortgages. This set the stage for the real estate bubble. That once that sort of blew up in all of our faces, that triggered the economic decline, or the great, even more some of the Democrats in this race described it as the Great Recession that we all went through for 8 or 9 years, which we all essentially, thousands of us suffered from it. And today, changes have been made that make it even difficult for people to get into that first home. So we're still struggling with it. We're still dealing with the aftermath of that. And it's because the Democrats bought into, put a liberal Democrat into office. And we've all paid for it. And now we finally started to recover from it. Admittedly, COVID-19 now has sort of turned the tables on even the best made plans. But that aside for a moment, we're still at another turning point. We cannot afford another radical Democrat in this congressional office. It's too important. It's too important to the state and to the nation. We need someone there who is a little more level-minded, and we cannot afford another recession like the one that we just crawled through for 8 or 9 years. So I think it's important to answer that. In terms of committees, I'll look for an appropriate committee. I don't think that's really a problem. But I think one of the most important tasks for anyone in Congress who wants a future for America is we have to help Nancy Pelosi get out of the spot she's in. She is leading everything to the hard left, and it will not serve this nation well.
It's been 15 years since Congress had a round of BRAC hearings, base realignment and closure, which periodically the government engages in an attempt to consolidate or in some cases cut military spending. There is talk that in the next session of Congress, there may be a round of BRAC hearings. Could you ever see yourself as the representative in Congress from the 4th of voting for military spending cuts that would impact people in the district who work in that industry?
Business of military reductions has been going on for a very, very long time. It's nothing new to us. Hanscom Air Force Base is a mere shadow of what it used to be. Pease Air Force Base, a mere shadow of what it used to be. So Westover is a place where we keep some reserve units. Yes, that's going on. We park the C-5s, which we have, a very questionable mission for. They're too expensive to really, they're probably not a first choice for a lot of military missions today. So yes, I could serve on a BRAC and I would be happy to help sort things out. One of the difficulties in that has plagued this business of the bases is they've been asked to do analysis of their real estate value. Well, that's a moving target and it's very difficult to come back with a number, and it's sort of got them caught up in a sort of a vicious cycle. I'm going to use that term loosely. So we have to get through that. And then we can talk about really what makes sense for not only the, right-sizing our military, right-sizing our military bases. What do we really need going forward? And of course, a lot of that may be driven by how shall I say, anxious the communist Chinese get, or how proactive the Russians get and try in terms of their interest in Ukraine. So there's a lot of factors.
There's been a lot of talk lately about quote unquote defunding the police.
Right.
What's your view of that?
Well, it's like many of the arguments that you see from your Democrat candidates running here. It's very contrived. It's all boogeyman stuff. We gotta lock the door and stay in the light and hide from the world. It's a lot of nonsense. What we may have a legitimate problem with, and it's not just in the police, it's in every profession in the world, and that is bad actors. And so is there enough filters inside various police departments to catch bad actors before they do something that makes headlines? I don't know, maybe we can take a look at that, I'm sure. But in your business, and certainly in politics, there are people who get in there and do things that are reprehensible. So there has to be a way to go in there and take a look. Does that mean defunding the police? I would say long before you get there, you better ask yourself a few basic questions like, what is the standard for the number of policemen for a community? What basis do we have for saying you need 1 policeman or 1,000 policemen? There is a formula, and it's a formula that is adjusted for communities. But we could start by taking a look at that and saying, first of all, is the police department right-sized? Secondly, do we have something inside the police department, some oversight, some filter where we can spot the bad actors and either one, get them retrained or help them transition to another career.
You can find interviews with all of the candidates on our website, cbsboston.com. Stay with CBSN Boston and WBZ TV for campaign 2020 coverage. The state primary is Tuesday, September 1st. Vote by mail applications are due by August 26.